4 has gone ahead to knock on the door of Arsenal, and that is Emile Smith Rowe. For those that obviously went ahead to watch the match day live before Arsenal got knocked out of the Carabao Cup on this channel when we were live, you obviously got to know the story that Emile Smith Rowe is out injured. And at first I thought that maybe it was just an ego onto the knee and is going to be out for like 2-3 days. And when Arsenal is going to play Newcastle, is going to be available. That's not the case. He's not going to be available as Arsenal plays Newcastle over the weekend. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. This is the Arsenal News Show, and I think we've long without doing such a show. We are talking about Arsenal. I know we talk about Arsenal as the front page story, and then we add in other stories from other teams. But today, it's obviously Arsenal talking about it as Arteta reveals to us how long Smith Rowe is going to be out, right? Then Jorginho has gone ahead and spoken about what Arsenal has to do after that loss to Newcastle, and Saliba and Declan Rice's importance here. The club of Arsenal has been really explained by Mikel Arteta as far as their trip to the Newcastle side is really concerned. We thank God for the gift of life. Hope you guys are really having a fantastic stay where you are. This is RD, and let's continue to obviously cover you all or bless you up with the news coming in from the Arsenal side. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikum, and let's set this rolling. Now, yesterday, this was the first story we got before the game of West Ham really started, as most of us had included Emile Smith Rowe into our starting 11. Our predicted starting 11, and he was not part of the squad. When Arteta was asked by the Sky Sport, he told them that we have an issue with him. He felt something in his knee and started to feel some pain after the game. We are assessing him, but it's a bit worry with him. That's what he said. And if I told you there on my live, obviously went ahead to break this story that Emile Smith Rowe is really having an injury. But the big question was, how long was Smith Rowe going to be out? That was the most important bit of it all. And finally, we obviously got a reply coming in from Mikel Arteta on Emile Smith Rowe's injury. He said he's got an injury in his knee and he's going to be out for weeks. This is very disheartening to me as a person who loves people who know the ball and people who are really great, in this era. I don't support Arsenal, but there's some players of Arsenal I enjoy watching. Emile Smith Rowe, by the way, is one of those. I enjoy watching Odegaard. I enjoy watching Declan Rice. I enjoy watching William Saliba, Jorginho, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, Fabio Vieira. There are some 6-7 players of Arsenal that I really keep a lot of attention to when I'm watching the game because of the magic they bring to the game. That is it. So, for Emile Smith Rowe, a player that I've gone ahead to obviously admire and really love, to see him go through all this, it really makes me feel saddened. Getting any injury is one of those backslides that he wouldn't like to obviously get into his career. And it has not been part of his injury history. His injury history has all been about the calf, and the calf injury saw him not really feature prominently into Arsenal's last season. After him healing totally, this season we anticipated that maybe he's obviously going to really get back. He went and played the under 21 Euros. They won it, and when he came back at Arsenal, it was hard for him to get into the starting 11 of Arsenal. And when a chance was provided, he played 90 minutes. He played close to 90 minutes against Sheffield, and after that game, he felt a knee. And this is where you obviously have to understand that these managers are really wise. That's why when the players just gonna hate to come back, they don't give him all those minutes. And I believe one of the reasons that would have gone ahead to cause all this is all about Emile Smith Rowe being given this game. I think that game really strained him a lot. I think would have gone ahead to play like 50 minutes or 60, then they take him off. That is it. That's what I really believe. But all in all, I would like to let you know that things are really bad on the side of Emile Smith Rowe. For a player who has always gone ahead to come in through and obviously done the needful as called in for by the team of Arsenal, because every time he's called out, he comes in through and represents to the fullest. But he's really having a problem. Now, he's also joining Julian Timber, Thomas Partey, Gabriel Jesus. Those are the 3 injuries that Arsenal we are really having. And Emile Smith Rowe is really a huge blow. Now, weeks have not been specified. As I told you, when Gabriel Jesus came out and said he felt a muscular pain in his thigh, I told you he might say it's really little, but it might keep him out for a month or 6 weeks. And you saw to it that he never featured in the game of Sheffield. And in the game of West Ham, yesterday he couldn't take part. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but on Saturday when they're playing Newcastle. Is he going to travel with the Arsenal squad to Newcastle? It's only God who knows, and the board of Arsenal. But it shows you that it is really hard. So we pray to it that Emile Smith Rowe heals on time, to see to it that he gets back, to see to it that he's going to the direction he wants it to flow. That his ship is really not going onto what we call a stabilized tie, and he's obviously having huge problems. And I really anticipate that a lot has to be done to see to it that things get going to where they deserve to be for Emile Smith Rowe. And there would have been a chance for him, obviously, to go to the Euros, because he looked sharp in the game of Sheffield, and I thought that he would have gone ahead to extend his sharpness in the game of West Ham, but the knee injury did him what we call a huge disservice, and he couldn't obviously come in through to obviously participate and obviously take the team of Arsenal to where it deserves to be under his good talent. Now, Arteta, having gone ahead to lose to West Ham 3-1, he has come out and revealed, he was asked on if Arsenal lack physicality without Saliba and Declan Rice. He said, obviously, there are different players that bring something different to the table, but it's not about that. It's about a lot of simple things that we don't do well all today versus West Ham. Some of them were competing, some were duels, 50-50s, but a lot of giveaways we have in areas that we didn't allow us in any moment to be a threat in the final third, and that's something we have to improve dramatically from today. So that's what Mikel Arteta is really revealing to us. But the physicality has gone ahead and obviously said, yes, in the summer transfer window, I told you that the reason as to why Arsenal went in for the player dubbed Declan Rice is that Arteta had made a very huge analysis that one of the reasons as to why they lost the trophy was all about lack of enough physicality in the midfield of Arsenal, and that's why he went in for Declan Rice. And you see to it that even Kai Havertz, who another midfielder that was brought in, he's tall, physical, and he complements well in the physical abilities or attributes when Arsenal is really needing them. So for Declan Rice and William Saliba, they're really physical players. When you look at Declan Rice and his talent, look at Saliba and his talent, obviously you understand that they're really that crop of players that you would love to have in your team to see to it that it thrives to the best. And for Mikel Arteta, he's badly wanting these players. And that's why I told you that Arsenal is 2-3 players away from obviously becoming that team that is obviously going to become a juggernaut. I did that story, I think, yesterday when I was talking about Zubimendi and who else? I was talking about Zubimendi. And Chiomini. That if Arsenal can bring Zubimendi and Chiomini in the midfield, guys, that's going to be a juggernaut of a midfield. And that midfield will be the best in the world. Declan Rice, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, guys, Odegaard. It will be really a very huge juggernaut, and it will be hard to be stopped. So that's why I told you freely that I really call onto that, and the physicality is needed into that team of Arsenal, and Mikel has gone ahead to obviously admit about it, and it's good to see it that the GAF has gone ahead to admit, But he says there are lots of things that Arsenal did the wrong way. That is it. And having gone ahead to do things the wrong way, they obviously went ahead to obviously not go down well, and Arsenal lost by 3-1. Then Jorginho has something to say about that loss that Arsenal really suffered yesterday at the London Stadium. Really tough one. The only thing we can take from this tough test result is how we need to be much better at competing for the next game against Newcastle, because if you're going to play at this level, you won't win for sure. So that's what I think we need to improve on for the next game to try and win there. It's great that the game is in 3 days because it's a chance to turn things around and turn this feeling, because it's not the best feeling. Of course, we can go and try to put things right. I really understand the pain that players like Jorginho are really going in through, but it might be a blessing in disguise for Arsenal to concentrate on the Premier League and the Champions League, by the way, because if Arsenal reduces the number of games they're going to play, then it will obviously help them. If you told Mikel Arteta that your squad is going to play 38 games in the Premier League, plus I think there are 13 games when it's supposed to play to win the Champions League. Not so. 6 group stage games, round of 16, those are 2 to make it 8. Quarter-final 2 to make it 10, semi-final 2 to make it 12, and the final to make it 13. So that means going to be playing 51 games a season. I think we'll really agree with any of us and say, all right, don't get me any tournaments. We've seen players complain, and you never know what this will bring to the club of Arsenal. It brings reduced games. That means Arsenal players are going to get some more days to rest for seven days. Like, for example, when they return from the international break, I think there won't be any time when they're going to play in the midweek, unless there is a Premier League game. And that means even other teams will be playing. When you look at the fixture of Arsenal, after playing Sevilla in the midweek, they'll play Burnley, right? They go to the international break. They return to play Brentford, RC Loans in the midweek. Then, there is another midweek game on December 5th. So, I think after Arsenal plays that game of PSV, that's when they'll obviously get some huge rest and be playing like 1 game per week for like 2-3 weeks, and then they resort to that into the nick of time. So that's really great, and I think however much it's painful to see to it that your team really got knocked out, but there is another positive side of that, of Arsenal not getting where they deserve to be because of too many games played. I support Man United, you know that very well, but last season we went ahead to play close to 64 games as a team. Those players were naked, and you never know, it might be one of the reasons as to why some players are not yet back to where they deserve to be. So guys, your thoughts on Emile Smith Rowe, out for weeks, Jorginho geared up for the Newcastle game, Saliba and Rice's importance explained by Mikel Arteta. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokani David remains my name. Second video of the day. More is yet to come. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikum, and may the Lord God see you throughout the night and protect you to your endeavors that you're yearning for tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.